The war chamber of the Galactic Defense Council fell silent as Commander Zethak's forearms gestured toward the holographic display. The crimson-scaled Vorthak's voice carried the weight of 3 centuries of military experience. The Nexus station scenario has been our ultimate test for tactical officers for over 200 standard years, he announced, his yellow eyes scanning the assembled alien dignitaries. No single being has ever completed it. The record holder, General Ligstar of the Hegemony, managed to secure 47% of the objectives before the simulation terminated his forces. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Representatives from dozens of species, crystalline ethereals, gas-form nebulites, the insectoid hive minds, all nodded in solemn agreement. The Nexus Station scenario was legendary, a perfect storm of impossible odds, resource constraints, and tactical nightmares that had humbled the greatest military minds in the galaxy. Today, Zethak continued, we have a special observer. The humans have requested that one of their officers attempt the challenge. The word officers dripped with barely concealed skepticism. Humanity had only joined the Galactic Defense Council 18 months ago, after their first contact with the Vorthak fleet had gone spectacularly wrong, or right, depending on one's perspective. The humans had somehow convinced a vastly superior alien force to retreat using nothing but 3 outdated warships and what they called aggressive negotiations. A door hissed open, and Captain Sarah Chen stepped into the chamber. At barely 1.7 meters tall, she looked insignificant among the towering aliens. Her uniform was simple, unadorned except for a single silver bar and a small patch depicting a blue and green world. She carried herself with quiet confidence, dark eyes taking in the assembled council with calm assessment. "Counselors," she said, her voice steady despite the hundreds of alien eyes fixed upon her. "I understand there's a tactical exercise you'd like me to attempt." Zethak's mandibles clicked in what passed for amusement among his species. "Captain, Chen, this is not merely an exercise. It is the ultimate test of strategic thinking, resource management, and tactical flexibility. The scenario places you in command of Nexus Station, a critical supply hub under siege by overwhelming hostile forces. You must coordinate the defense of 17 separate platforms while managing dwindling resources, civilian evacuations, and multiple simultaneous crises. The previous record is 47% completion," Chen interrupted politely. "Yes, I was briefed. When do we begin?" The ethereal delegate's crystalline form chimed melodiously. "Captain, perhaps you do not fully comprehend the scope of this challenge. The scenario adapts in real time, creating new complications based on your decisions. It is designed to be impossible to complete fully." Chen's lips quirked upward in what her species called a smile. "With respect, Counselor, my species has a saying. Impossible is just another word for, we haven't figured it out yet." The holographic display activated, surrounding Chen with a 3-dimensional representation of Nexus Station and the surrounding space. Immediately, alerts began flashing red. Enemy fleets approached from 3 vectors. Station hull breaches vented atmosphere. Civilian transports screamed for escort protection. Supply convoys reported raider attacks. What happened next would be studied in military academies across the galaxy for generations. Instead of frantically trying to address each crisis as it emerged, the approach every previous candidate had taken, Chen spent the first crucial minutes simply observing. Her eyes tracked patterns, her mind cataloging resources and threats. The assembled aliens watched in bewilderment as precious seconds ticked away. Then she began to act. "All civilian transports, form convoy formation Charlie 7 and proceed to coordinates 447-221, she ordered calmly. "Military escort vessels establish overlapping coverage fields, not individual protection." The seemingly counterintuitive command actually created a defensive network that protected more ships with fewer resources. Within minutes, Chen had identified something no previous candidate had noticed. The enemy attack pattern wasn't random. There was a mathematical rhythm to it, a signature that suggested the hostile AI was following predictable algorithms. Instead of reacting to each attack, she began anticipating them. Station platforms 7, 12, and 15. Initiate controlled power failures in sectors 4 through 9, she commanded. To the observers, it looked like she was sabotaging her own defenses. In reality, she was creating false signatures, making the enemy AI believe those platforms were crippled while secretly repositioning assets. The hive mind delegates' thousand eyes blinked in unison. She's treating the scenario as if it were a living opponent rather than a strategic puzzle. Hour by hour, Chen's unconventional approach yielded unprecedented results. She didn't just manage the crises, she turned them into opportunities. Damaged stations became decoys. Supply shortages became ambush opportunities. Even civilian evacuation routes became tactical advantages, creating cover for military movements. As the simulation's sun reached its zenith in the artificial sky, something unprecedented occurred. The enemy forces began retreating. Not because they had been defeated in conventional terms, but because Chen had made their continued assault too costly to sustain. By sunset, the holographic display showed a result that stunned the chamber into absolute silence. Not only had Chen achieved 100% completion of all primary objectives, but she had actually improved the station's overall defensive position beyond its starting configuration. Zethak's forearms trembled as he stared at the readout. In 3 centuries, no being has achieved more than 47% completion. You've achieved... This is impossible. Chen powered down her command interface and turned to face the assembly. Counselors, I think there might have been a misunderstanding about the nature of this test. Misunderstanding? The nebulite delegates' gaseous form swirled with confusion. You called it an impossible tactical challenge, Chen explained. But impossibility implies that no solution exists. This scenario had solutions, plural. Your previous candidates were looking for the single perfect strategy, the one optimal path through the crisis. She gestured at the holographic aftermath. But humans learned long ago that survival isn't about finding the perfect solution. It's about finding any solution that works, and then making it better as you go. The ethereal's crystals rang with harmonic comprehension. You treated the scenario not as a test to be passed, but as a problem to be solved. Exactly. Chen's smile widened. And humans are very, very good at solving problems, especially when everyone tells us it's impossible. As the chamber erupted in excited chatter among dozens of species, Zethak approached the small human officer. Captain Chen, I believe we may have underestimated your species' potential contribution to galactic defense. Chen chuckled, a sound that somehow conveyed both humility and quiet confidence. Commander, you haven't seen anything yet. This was just a simulation. Wait until you see what humans can do when the stakes are real and the coffee is fresh. The Galactic Defense Council would remember this day as the moment they truly understood what it meant to have humanity as an ally. In the battles that would come, they would learn that when humans said something was impossible, they weren't stating a limitation. They were issuing a challenge. And humanity had never been very good at backing down from challenges.